These individuals are ones we learn about often in schools, right?
Yeah.
But what about the African Americans they don't mention?
All right.
Ones that have changed the world through their inventions that are used even today in modern society. Like Sarah Boone, the inventor of the ironing board, or Jan Messenger, who invented the shoelaster machine, making it possible to build thousands of pairs of shoes a day versus 50 being handmade. What about Philip Downing, the inventor of the mailbox, or Alice Parker, inventor of the heating furnace? It's amazing to read about people like Lyda Newman, a women's rights activist and a hairdresser who invented the modern-day hairbrush. Ain't she cute? And I know y'all have heard of Madam C.J. Walker, also known as Sarah Breedlove Walker, who was an entrepreneur and a philanthropist, noted as the first African-American female millionaire. After the death of her husband, her hair began to fall out. She was 20 years old. So she used her talent and skill to make products to enhance the growth of her hair. Not being able to read and write well, Madam C.J. Walker was still highly intelligent and business-oriented as she started her business in the attic of her home and ended up having over 25,000 employees amongst all her factories and companies, some existing in South America. Now, this is in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Amazing. 25,000 employees. The word says your gift will make room for you and place you before great men. Yeah. What an example she was. It's Madam CJ. Say your project. She says, I'm rich. Thank you, Madam CJ. And Madam C.J. Walker was, when you really do the research on her, this is not in my notes, she lived in a home that was on a one-room home with a dirt floor, no windows, no bathroom, no nothing. And they talked about how her parents worked on a plantation, and during the time they was free, but that was all they could do, uneducated. When her parents died, her family tried to continue the plantation, which was basically she and her siblings, and that was hard for them to do as young people. Her brother moved further north, and eventually she and her other siblings moved along as well. And once she was married, her husband passed away, who was C.J. Walker. That's why she named herself Madam C.J. Walker. And once he died, the stress, I guess, being a single mother, an African-American woman, she couldn't read and write well because of her background. So what was she going to do? But like I said, your gift will make room for you and place you before a great man. She used the knowledge and skill that God had given her. And she created this business that was multi-million-dollar business. She didn't even live to be, I don't think, past her 40s. But look at what she was able to accomplish. And through that, she had a huge mansion. They got pictures of it that she ended up in New York City. But she gave back to the communities. And she gave to help build African-American schools and organizations. So she is definitely a great woman of history. African Americans invented things that we see and use every day, from the weighing scale to the golf tee, the ice cream scoop, to the idea of the potato chip. Now, I know y'all like potato chips. Many inventions that are being used throughout the world, like the traffic signal invented by Garrett A. Morgan. He was the first inventor of the belt fastener for the sewing machine. He became famous for his gas mask invention when he and several friends used his safety hoods to save workers trapped in a water intake tunnel being dug under Lake Erie after a natural gas explosion. This amazing idea is now used by firefighters all over the world. His traffic signal helped control the traffic through intersections, which now we know without it, we have accidents as is. We be having a lot more accidents and a lot of angry people. He sold his idea to General Electric for $40,000.
GE got rich off of it.
And they did. You know, back in that time, $40,000 was like a couple million this day. But he came up with that idea. And when you learn about Garrett Morgan, it also talks about how he was a businessman, period. He was an entrepreneur. He owned several businesses, shoe repair stores, clothing stores. So he was a great man and a leader in the African American community. And what about those who shared their gifts and talents throughout the arts? Music, poetry, film. African Americans made a name during a cultural movement known as the Harlem Renaissance. Wonderful poets like Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston. Those that don't got it can't show it. Those that got it can't hide it. That's Zora Neale Hurston. And yes, that was one of her writings.
I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when the company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America.
All right.
And that's the great Langston Hughes. Marian Anderson, the first African American to receive the honor of performing at the White House, as she was invited by Roosevelt and his wife Eleanor, was also a great woman in our history. Her 1939 performance at the Lincoln Memorial helped set the stage for the Civil Rights Movement. I told her to give us a tune, but she won't. All right, Marian, look pretty. And that was an honor, because if you worked in the White House or was invited in the White House or anything, it was to be a butler or a servant. It wasn't a scene. So she set the stage for that. A movement, which I said she set the stage for the Civil Rights Movement, a movement during the 50s and 60s that involved the pursuance of equal treatment of blacks and whites in America. Blacks of the time period desired economic success and social acceptance among whites. I gotta get sophisticated now. A movement during the 50s and 60s that involved the pursuance of equal treatment of blacks and whites in America. Blacks of the time period desired economic success and social acceptance among whites. Two of my favorite people during this era were the courageous Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Their courage, strength, and faith and sacrifice changed laws that made this country better for all of us. Efforts to give black people their rights never stopped, but the changes were not enough. It took a strong leader, a person who believed in peace and justice, to win more freedom for black Americans. The March on Washington, led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was the largest peaceful protest in this country.
Get out of here.
The right to remain silent.
We support you, Rosa.
We got it.
Now, we had to tell her that she really is not going to jail. She really thought they was going to take her. But, of course, we know the real Rosa Parks did. And we thank her for her courage to not give up her seat. Because a lot of people just would have got up, fussed and argued and talked about it later. But she stood her ground. And so we thank her for that. Demonstrations led by King, Parks, and other brave blacks, and whites included, such as the Montgomery bus boycott, let the government know that we as a people would not give up without a fight, but a nonviolent one that drove out hate with love. I was praying free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Amen. Ain't nobody gonna turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't nobody gonna turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching to freedom land. I said, ain't nobody gonna turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't nobody gonna turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching to freedom land. Black history, our history, American history, the world's history. Individuals that have had and are continuously impacting this world through inventions, politics, businesses, music, film, sports, and even science. Let's not forget Dr. Mae Jemison, the first African-American woman to travel in space. She went aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1992. She also served in the Peace Corps and was an actress who featured in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Also a dancer and a woman of many talents who stated her inspirer was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
I'm so gifted. I have 9 honorary doctorate degrees.
And she does, in science, engineering, letters, and the humanities. And when you learn about Dr. Mae Jemison, her father was a maintenance worker for many, many years. Her mother was a school teacher, but that doesn't matter. We seen people birthed from slavery that became wonderful people in our history. So that just lets you know, as Booker T. Washington came in here and said, you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. Amen. Amen. So many have built our country, inspired us, encouraged us, and even entertained us. We can be here for days talking about the Maya Angelos, the Cicely Tysons, the Richard Pryor's, the Bill Cosby's, the Stevie Wonders, the Mahalia Jacksons, the Shirley Caesars, the Aretha Franklins, the Oprah Winfrey's, the Denzel Washingtons, and we can go on and on and on. Let's not leave out sports. From George Dixon, Jackie Robinson's, the Muhammad Ali's, to the recent Tiger Woods. And we had a great historical moment in 2007 when black head coach Tony Dungy was the first African-American coach to win the Super Bowl, leading the Colts in victory against the Chicago Bears. Being a spiritual man, he always talked about God.
Yeah.
The Lord don't always take you on a straight line. He tests you sometimes.
And there was an original quote from Tony Dungy. We know he spoke a lot about the Lord and he prayed with his team, which a lot of them do, but that was a great accomplishment also in our history. Our biggest accomplishment yet as a people was when Senator Barack Obama became President Barack Obama in 2008 and again in 2012, fulfilling and living the dream that our ancestors fought so hard for. Now, if you were here for the Black History program we did a few years ago, I was Harriet Tubman, and I took the children through history because they didn't know anything, but then they took me to present day, and Deacon Poindexter was President Obama. When he walked through, Harriet fainted. Because that's probably what they would really do. Hold on. That's probably what they would really do was faint.